there, Poppin PJ here.
Today I am going to show you how to upcycle a junk jelly jar into a beautiful home accent decor, such as this. So for this jar, I'm going to use this piece of material, which is left over, part of a bag, an Easter bag, where I had used part of the material to do another project. And so I kept this in my little extras basket because I figured I knew I would probably want to use this fabric again for another project. And so that project is today. So I'm now going to hold the fabric up to the jar and it is going to work perfectly. Also, the little bag I actually purchased at the Dollar Tree. So it was only $1.25. I already got one use from it, and now it's going to be another. Mod Podge time. Anticipation, it's making me wait. Remember that commercial? So I am now using my sponge brush and coating the jar completely with the Mod Podge glue, so that I can adhere this piece of fabric onto it. So I am now taking the piece of fabric and putting it up to the top edge of the jar and pressing it down firmly so that it is adhered to the jar, nice and snug. And next I'm going to take more of the Mod Podge glue and just spread it all over the top of the fabric now so that it is nicely coated. And yes, it looks white right now, but when it dries, it will dry clear and you will be able to see the fabric for which it is. I'm just making sure that the seam is nice and firmly adhered around the jar. Now to let it dry overnight. Next, I found the string. Woohoo! Playing with the string. And I decided that I want to take and wrap the string around the top part of the jar where the lid would adhere on if we had the lid on the jar. I'm making sure to put the string around very snugly. One right over the top of the other as I'm wrapping it. I am making sure to apply the string very close together, one row on top of the other as I go around the top of the jar so that it will give it a very nice, clean look. And then I'm going to put more Mod Podge over the top of the string. And again, when it dries, you will be able to see the string. Now to let that dry. I'm going to use more string. Now I've got to cut the string. So now I am kind of looking at the bottom of the jar and decided that I'm going to use string around the bottom portion of the jar as well. So I am going to be putting more Mod Podge glue around the bottom of the jar. And then I'm going to apply the string around the jar just as I did for the top of the jar to give this string-like border for both the top and the bottom of the jar. I really love the look of how the string looks when it's layered on top of each other each time you wrap around the jar. So now I've got to cut the string where I want it to end on the jar. Then giving it a good coating of Mod Podge and going to let it sit and dry. Look at it so far. It is now dry, so I have to take and cut the extra fabric on the bottom. I'm just making small cuts around the bottom in the fabric so that I can very easily splay it out and sit it on this piece of wood because I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut the excess off. Want to push down firmly on the jar and get the knife right at the very edge where the jar meets the piece of wood and just cut through the fabric as you're able to. You may have to go over the same spot a couple times to get it to actually cut. And then I'm just going to take a pair of very small scissors to just trim the little edges to make it nice and smooth and clean.
So look how adorable that this came out. It is beautiful. I just put some dried flowers in it and some little sticks that I had to just make a cute little arrangement. But you could put anything in this jar. You could put makeup brushes. You could use it to hold pens.
So just think, this cute little arrangement here with the jar is from a jelly jar or a hot fudge sundae jar. I really don't remember which one, but it's one of the two. Upcycling is really fun and you can get really creative, and if you mess up, you know what? You have nothing to lose really. And also these type of things make great gifts for family and friends.
Another PJ chic and unique creation.